Kia ora, everyone. Welcome to the Unable Seaman podcast, the podcast designed to take a good, light-hearted look at all things boating and fishing in New Zealand. I'm your host, Jay Kerr, and joining me once again is my best mate, first mate, Christian Jensen. How are you, mate?
Hey, this again, eh?
Right. It's been a minute, hasn't it?
It has been. And I just want to say, this time, it's only taken us less than 15 minutes to work out Zoom.
Our normal hour and a half absolute muck round hasn't happened today, has it?
Nah, what a cracker.
And we've even learnt to not so yell into our sort of microphones, and hopefully we're going to have some audio quality. I was just saying before we went live that if we get 5 podcasts properly done on time that aren't sort of mind-numbingly boring, we might actually splash out and buy some podcast gear. How would that be a treat for the listeners, bro? Wouldn't have to have their speakers blown every time one of us coughs or breathes too hard.
Yeah, hopefully they can't hear my nasally mouth at the moment. Gosh, and nose. I'm blown away. I got hay fever or whatever you want to call it.
Novus. Anyway, bro, as we said, it's been a wee while since we've last done one of these, and I don't know why we haven't done one, just been lazy, I suppose. The good news is we've got plenty to talk about. First of all, though, I want to start with talking to you about your highlight of summer. I mean, it seems so long ago now, but what was your best part of summer?
You know, it's pretty cool, actually, you asked me that, because you go back into your photos on your phone, and you can just scan through and see. And the one that pops up the quickest that I go, oh, that was freaking awesome, is my partner, Chelsea, and I. We went to Auckland and we watched one of the races of the America's Cup.
Nice.
And we went out to Maraetai, and I can't remember what race it was. And it was just an absolute cracker. They were miles away, but you could see the pace. They were just so fast. It was awesome.
Well, I can go you one better, bro. I actually took the old bin liner out and saw the races live. I actually saw quite a bit of the racing.
Because you did the Louis Vuitton and the America's Cup. Eh?
Yeah. So I was out there the day American Magic flipped over. Bit of a funny story about that. We didn't see that. So we watched the racing the day before, and we stayed overnight in the boat, Karina and I sort of knew it was going to be marginal to get to that race the next day due to the weather. So we had a go at it. And after taking a couple of reasonable waves and all the rest of it, I said, hey, look, not worth it. Anyway, we bounced our way home. Wasn't too bad, but had a bit of a mare at the boat ramp as well. Anyway, the funny part of this story, though, is a week later.
Not the mare at the boat ramp.
I'm not going to talk about the mare at the boat ramp because the guy might be listening. But the best thing was we were watching The Perfect Storm a week later, and Karina, without a word of a lie, grabs my leg, looks at me, and goes, "Was that what it was like when we were out there that day?" And I just gave her this look of, you're comparing a hurricane that killed people versus a little bit of wind versus tide chop in the Hauraki Gulf. Not quite the same, but anyway, perception is everything. So, So that was a highlight for me. Did you kill me? But how good was that America's Cup?
Mate, and we went to the village and watched Team Prada being pulled out of the water.
Yeah.
Epic. Huge cranes. Lots of engineering going on there for those people out there that get a bit geeky on that stuff. It was epic.
Yeah.
Some sexy boats. And I can tell you a story. So Chelsea and I were watching the boats come in afterwards, America's Cup, blah, blah, blah. Prada's been pulled out of the water. Team New Zealand's been pulled out of the water. They go behind closed doors. You know how the boats get dragged away and then boom, doors shut. Can't see anything now. So we just watch all the support boats come in. And all these huge boats come in, huge boats. And I point out one to Chelsea and I said, that's the one. That's my pick of the night. I'm having that one. She said, that's the smallest boat here. Why do you get that little tiddler? And I'm like, hey, that's a semi-fly 45. That's a dickie.
Oh, okay.
And she just ripped it, man. Okay. She just absolutely ripped it. So I have to send you, note to me that I've got to send you the photo so you can check it up. Because I still think it is a sexy boat.
I have a story to tell you about that exact boat. That boat was going into the viaduct. Am I right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I was on that boat. However,
really,
when I was on it, yes, but not at sea. So through a long story short, I got to go out on a charter on a beautiful yacht. It was all you could.
On this one?
Not on the Dickie.
Ooh.
But anyway, we came back after a long day in the water, and I saw the Dickie semi-fly 45 right there. And to anyone who's listened to this podcast before will know that is our favourite boat. However, it was parked there, and I was absolutely hammered. Walked on it though and said, "Okay, mate, can I have a look?" And he showed me around, and I thought it was one of those moments where I thought everything I said was brilliant. I thought, this is my dream boat. I know everything about this, and I'm going to impress this guy with my knowledge of it, and this is so cool. And it was epic. We got off the boat and got about 100 meters up the dock, and the mate was with me kicks me and goes, "You moron!" And I go, "What?" And he goes, "You asked 3 times how much diesel it uses." And then to the point, so the first time he sort of just politely answered. The second time he was like, "Oh, maybe you didn't hear." And the third time he just looked at my mate and was like, "Is this guy is this guy thick?" So here I was thinking, here I was thinking that that I'd sorted it. Yeah, it unfortunately wasn't quite my best moment. But what a boat! Oh, no. We still love the dinghy.
Yeah. So that one that I've just sent you a photo of is the one that you jumped on. Most likely, there's not that many of them.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. With the flags.
Yeah, cool. So chuck that up on the podcast, share it with the crew.
Yeah,
that is my pick from the night. I could have had 100-foot, whatever. There were ribs there. There were Maritimos. Yeah, nah.
That dinghy was out there every day. It was out there every race day. I saw it go out because every time I was out there on my motorboat, I saw it. I can't remember its name now. And I always saw it in the background of the footage when it was there. So that guy was getting so much use. And the interesting thing is that people who have listened to this podcast, I've had a couple of people come to me and say they'd never heard of the dinghy before. And now after our recommendations, they really like it. I mean, unfortunately, the people I socialise with, none of them can afford it, but like us, but they like it. And it's aspirational. One of them might win lotto. So we're doing our bit.
Any of those people there that work at Dickie, if they get someone that's similar age to us, looks like they can't afford it, they probably won lotto, but also they can thank us.
They can thank us.
That sale. Anyway, what else is on the agenda?
Well, we've got heaps to talk about because it's been so long. We are going to try to keep these podcasts to about half an hour to our listeners there. Just one other thing, I'm going to give our social media a bit of a plug there, at Unable Seaman for the Instagram, which will put the picture of that dinghy up, as well as many other things that we load. Heaps of followers on that, bro. I've had heaps of people message me and stuff through that.
Oh, we've got that's 6 cool. More people this year.
Yeah, I mean, heaps is a fluid word.
Heaps mean.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I want to quickly talk about, just before we move on away from the America's Cup, if money wasn't an option and the event was up to you on your shoulders, what would you do differently next time?
With America's Cup?
Yeah. Because we've won it. We've won it. We get to host it. As a Kiwi, what would you do?
I really liked it in Auckland. It was cool, but it was quite far. Everything, like the viewing points that I went to were quite far away from the racing. And I love if you could be on the water, you would be. It'd be awesome. What about have it in Wellington? And what about have them dodge between the Inter-Islander? Hey. Hey, it's always a northerly or a nor'wester coming into Wellington, humming down there. It's a harbour, and it's deep.
I definitely think they could share it round. Even if they had the Louis Vuitton there or something, I definitely think they could share it around. I think that's a good shout. I really do.
They also have public transport that's actually half decent there.
Yeah. I'll tell you the other thing I would do, and this is stealing the idea a little bit from the Sail GP. Now, if our listeners are out there and they haven't seen any of the Sail GP yet,
epic, eh?
Get on YouTube, watch it. New Zealand's got a team now. We've had a bit of a mixed start, to be fair. There was a race just over the weekend, which I'm a little bit behind on.
Aussie that's actually doing pretty well, eh?
Aussie's doing very well. Tom Slingsby, good sailor, and they're doing really, really well. Name. But the beauty is that it's fleet racing. They're all racing against each other. And that would be my only criticism of that America's Cup, was that once a boat got in front, normally it was a foregone conclusion. There wasn't a lot of
No, how many times did the lead change?
Oh, a little bit. But imagine if you had them all in there. Imagine if you had them all in there, elbowing each other out of the way.
Match racing. Have you know the name? America's Cup match racing.
I get that, but what about for the Louis Vuitton if they were all in?
Well, then you got fleet racing, and then you all of a sudden jump into a match race.
I know, but it would be so much better.
You've got the GP, the Sail GP for the match racing. I mean, for the fleet racing, then you jump over the Emirates Cup for match racing. Okay, I know I'm old school, but
I guess look, you're right. The traditional. I'm just trying to think of better ways to improve it.
yeah, okay, no, that's cool. What about like people love watching it? Where could you put it? Where else would you have it? Bigger boats, smaller boats, different sail plan, different hulls.
I think they're going to keep the boats, and I totally support that.
Weren't they sexy?
I think what they should do though, and I'm sure they're going to do this anyway, is they need to sail that New Zealand boat now. Now that we're not going to need it, sail it until it breaks and find out what the limit is. Is the limit 60 knots? Is it never really got pushed?
Didn't.
So that's the limit. Okay, how do we make that work? And I'm sure that's probably what is happening behind closed doors. I'm sure there's going to be huge advances within foil configurations. I mean, you saw that even across the regatta from the pre-Christmas Cup, where let's face it, there was a lot of mistakes being made, a lot of learning going on because they hadn't had those pre-races, to the America's Cup final series where it was brilliant. Imagine that condensed period over the next 3 or 4 years. Like, where can they take these things? I think it's going to be exciting.
Wouldn't it be cool when they can crack that 100k an hour?
I think one of them get pretty close to that, I think.
Yeah, 90 something Ks, but that was in Cell GP. See, that's a cat versus monohull. Hey, interesting though, like getting a bit geeky, the monohulls have a greater righting moment than the cats.
Is that right?
Because they've got this like thing, this 5-ton hull or whatever, cantilevered, I can't remember how many meters off from the center point of balance. And so they actually have a bigger righting moment. So that's why they can push these huge sail plans upwind.
Interesting. Really cool. I didn't know that. That's an interesting fact.
It's one of the boating news magazines had it in there.
Yeah.
Bloody good.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Anyway, bro, what have you bought this summer? What's something I know you're gagging to tell me about a purchase.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to tell you about purchase. I'm just jumping on Marketplace because I was trolling through Marketplace, and I was a bit chuffed actually, mate. I got is it called Vitus rod? Shimano Vitus. I'm just gonna have a quick geeze. Mark Fielder. I got my in-law from Nelson to pick it up for me, and tickety-boo, mate. Here we go. Shimano Vortex 10-foot rock rod. 10 to 15 kilo.
Rock fishing.
Are
you that? Have you lost all faith in your boat so much? Keeping in mind you do have an ancient Suzuki on the back of your boat, which I would personally.
1995. Hey, you can't talk. You got a Johnson that still runs on coal.
At least it runs. Are you telling me you've lost so much faith in your boat now that you've resorted to rock fishing?
No, but my father-in-law has pretty shitty fishing gear. And if I can have nice fishing gear there where he doesn't have a boat and I can go fishing, happy days.
I see. Okay.
So I'm kitting out the second house.
I'm getting the grand plan here.
Isn't it technical? You like it? So anyway, $35 off Marketplace. Shimano Vortex rock fishing spinning rod, 10 foot, 10 to 15 kilos, 2-piece, boom, going down, lively off the wharf, tickety-boo, give me a beer.
Nice. Well, we want to see the first fish you catch off that on our Unable Seaman Instagram page.
Okay.
And
I can do that.
I don't care if it has to be. Does it have to be a legal fish? No, the first thing you catch. The first thing you catch. Obviously, if it's illegal, you put it back.
Does it count if it's the bottom? Does that count as a thing?
I would say there's a very high possibility it's going to be the bottom of rock fishing. It's all you bloody catch.
Okay. Anyway, what have you purchased, Mr. High and Mighty?
Well, I've been to the boat show. And
I've been to the boat show and I went to the display center.
Well, we're going to come back to the boat show in a minute and talk about that. But I had been, I went there to buy a jigging rod, forgot how expensive jigging rods are, so got nervous and didn't. But I bought an epic slow jigging rod. Now, this thing only cost me $199. It was a little Daiwa.
Yep.
Daiwa little slow jig set on a beautiful thin rod. I can't remember the name now. I know people get right into the names of these things. It's basically their entry-level set. I absolutely love it. As you know, and as anyone who follows us on YouTube at Unable Seaman, you'll see some videos there. I've been using heaps of these Globite lures So
Yeah,
pretty
man, you
much
have been.
predominantly slow jig fishing now. And I'd always been doing it on a soft bait rod. So I thought I'm going to invest and get a proper slow jig set. Big difference being when you drop into free spool, you still have some connection with the lure.
You can put your thumb on it and just
Yeah,
feel that
you
line
can.
coming off.
And I know that sounds like such a marketing tool, but after fishing with a
I'll
couple
give
of
you
them,
that.
it makes a
Yeah.
huge difference. And my father-in-law, Grant, both of us get influenced by our father-in-laws by the sound of it here, but he had
What?
these sets set up, this the slow jig setup, or a similar one, a Shimano product, and I thought, I've got to get me one of these. And do you know how I cracked it? When I bought the rod and I took it up there to catch its first fish, Grant was eyeing it up going, oh, shit, I would have got one of these if I'd known, if I'd seen it. That was validation that I knew I'd bought a good rod.
Oh, whatever, man.
Yeah, genuinely.
Whatever. Oh, yeah. I'm waiting for my invite. You know, to bloody get a snapper. Actually,
Well,
talking about that, is that your last fishing trip? Or was that your last fishing trip?
It is my last fishing trip, although I have had quite a few fishing trips recently. I've been a bit spoiled.
Have been.
All on jigs, had really good sessions on the jigs. And again, if you want to see the end result, YouTube Unable Seaman or our Instagram Unable Seaman. I'll quickly tell you a story about a jigging mission we went on. Here's where I thought I needed a new jigging rod. My jigging rod was snapped by my father, who has missed a point load.
This is the first, second, third, or fourth time?
About the second or third time. But anyway, took my other friend out, and he just returned from overseas with this $2,000
This
jigging
is my friend
combo.
Christian Kuhn, eh?
Christian Kuhn, if he's listening, shout out to you, mate. I hope you are listening.
Hey, Safa's bride, Poiky.
He's a South African, if you haven't quite picked up already. And he brought this thing, and he brought, one was an overhead, and one was a Daiwa dogfight.
Dogfight?
Daiwa dogfight on a beautiful rod. Again, a spin set.
So you had an overhead and a spin?
We had overhead and a spin.
Oh, yeah. You could compare.
It was so good. But anyway, I was on the spin set, and we're getting a couple of good kingies. He got one about 18. I got one a fraction smaller, and we're getting heaps of rats. Just having a good day.
18 grams.
18 kilos.
18 pounds.
Kilos of muscle.
Oh, jeez.
And anyway, then Dad was jigging and hooked onto this fish. He caught a couple of rats, and I said, and he hooked, and all of a sudden, just real started screaming. Classic, you know. And I thought, shit, he's into a winner here.
Hook a fish, point to the sky.
Well, I warned him. I said, do not lift it up. However, he had the opposite problem. He couldn't get the rod up. He couldn't get a wind on it. And I was giving him shit. I said, Dad, wind this bloody thing.
As my granddad would say, no fucker here around here.
Exactly.
Get your back into it, mate.
Get your back into it. And I was sort of thinking, this is a bit embarrassing for him. Anyway, he finally got this thing turned around and got it up. And I'm thinking, oh, this is a beauty. And long story short, it was a massive bronzy. It had hit a jig, believe it or not. So
it took the jig.
Took the jig, but we got it all the way to the surface, and we tried to get the jig out of its mouth. Then it obviously didn't like the little bit of dental work we were trying to give to it, and away it went. So it did get the jig, unfortunately. Yeah, which don't like leaving that in the fish's mouth, but it was either in its mouth or my hand in its mouth, and I know what I'd prefer. So they won't hit a jig again, put it that way.
Well, yeah, true. Hey, well, we didn't go jigging the last time we went out, but we had Annie and Mark, so Chelsea's parents there.
Yeah.
The man that picks up the fishing gear from Nelson for me. They were over. And so when they left after hanging out for the weekend, it was such a cracker day here in Wellington, like glassy calm. I said to Chelsea, let's go out. So the 1 day
of the year. Yep, okay.
Oh, come on. You've been out. You've been down here even. I've taken you out. It's been magic. On 2 days.
I've been down there, all right.
Actually, we did get smacked around that second day, coming back. But anyway, we went out off the west coast, launched at Twin Bridges, and just went out to Mana, and it was glassy calm. Glassy calm. We thought we'd set the long line in our favourite spot where we catch all our blind eels. Delicacy down here in Wellington.
Sounds awful.
Nah, we just seem to get a few. Anyway, started chasing the kahawai around, got a few, got one for dinner, got a couple for bait, sweet, that's always good. And then we anchored up and got Barry the bait fishing going. Dropped our lines down.
Still using bait. Oh, okay.
Chelsea loves bait fishing, man. I just, whatever keeps her happy, whatever gets me out in the water. Settle down, okay? Settle down. Anyway, I can see your face here. Anyway, first drop, Chelsea pulls up 52 centimeter gurnard.
Not bad. Not bad at
That's-
all. That's a
That's
bloody good
over
gurnard.
half a meter. That is a donkey.
In fact,
And
that's a huge gurnard. Yeah,
That's a huge gurnard. Yeah, I'll have to send you a photo so you can chuck it up on the Insta post.
definitely.
And I caught my first bloody rod caught snapper in
How
Wellington.
good.
Yeah, bro. So
Was
we
it
packed
legal?
up. Yeah, like legal. Well, I wouldn't
Yeah.
mention it otherwise. And packed up. We're like, sure, got our feed.
Do you even know what a legal snapper is these days?
Hey,
Aren't they like 27 down there still?
Hey, settle down. Anyway, it was over 30.
That's a live bait, man, up here.
Okay. Anyway, we cruised home, and the whole way home, all the kahawai were just like mouthing the surface. And then we had that sunset. It was just magnificent, man.
That's cool.
And we just cruised home, just slowly cruised home through all the schools of fish. There wasn't even another boat in the water. It was magic.
Oh, nice. Following on from that, I just want a bit of a plug, and I must remember. Have you been watching the Lateral Line?
Oh, I love their boat. I think it's awesome. Snazzy colours.
Cool boat. Yeah. So for those that don't know what we're talking about, the Lateral Line is Milan and Nathan from Big Angry Fish. They obviously don't make Big Angry Fish anymore. They've started a YouTube channel called The Lateral Line. And it's just them filming on a cell phone, basically going out.
An iPhone.
And what I like about it, bro, is that it's not all about wall-to-wall fishing action. It's about two guys being on the water, enjoying just being in nature, I suppose. And there's still the fishing action for those that want it. But how good. Just really enjoyable. If you haven't seen it, have a look.
And also, they've got a really cool setup. So those two, they're like us. They're just mates that want to go out and have a fish.
Yeah.
Are you getting those photos I'm sending you?
I am getting those photos. I
have to send you the sunset, actually. The sunset was quite nice. But their boat is so wicked. And that tent that pops up on the front.
I know.
So,
good.
So Nathan sleeps on the top under this like cool pop-up tent contraption thing. It's like a, how do you describe it? It's a bow rider that has a casting platform where the bow would be.
Yeah.
And then Milan's underneath in like a sort of cuddy cabin with no windows. I'd call it a bit of a dungeon. But anyway, they have a great setup.
It's very cool. It's very cool. And they were at the boat show too, so it was awesome to see it in real life. Now, just before we move on to the boat show, because I've got a lot to say about this boat show, but you've sent me through the photo, and for two guys who are trying to plug their social media at Unable Seaman.
Yes.
I'm a little bit dubious about uploading this photo, Christian. I mean, are you sure that's legal?
Yeah, bro, it was well over.
Oh,
hey,
man.
They might be quite big up there, but you don't have to put it up if you don't want to.
Oh, I'll put it up.
I have a fisher officer or an ex-fisher officer as a partner, so it was measured 6.5 times.
Yeah, well, you stretched the shit out of that.
Okay,
what
we're trying to show is that we are, just like everyone else, love getting out for fish and don't always catch big ones. No, there you go. That's our angle.
We're realistic.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that aren't realistic, nice little segue there into the boat show. Now, before I start talking about the boat show, so I went to the boat show for those that everyone else went to. I'm assuming who are our listeners. Well, that sentence made almost no sense.
No, I didn't get that. What were we trying to say again?
I was trying to say that I went to the boat show and you didn't go to the boat show.
I didn't go to the boat show.
You were away. So it's a sort of me reporting back to you and some of my highlights.
Oh, actually, I was driving back from Rotorua.
Yeah.
And you called me. And I think I parked on the side of the road for about 40 minutes while we had a chinwag.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, you were telling me all about it.
Couple of things I want to get off my chest first.
Yep,
boat shows. Rayglass, Tristram, name a few other boating companies weren't there.
Brands too? Mercury, Yamaha.
Yeah. I would forgive them a little bit because I think maybe they had stock issues. I don't know what game these guys are playing. Like, I support them doing their own thing to an extent. And I like that Rayglass and Tristram have these events. You can go to their factory and look through their boats. But if I had the money and I was going to the boat show to compare models back to back to back, am I going to then drive across town to the Rayglass factory or all the way to Hamilton
Nah, mate.
You know,
Nah.
I just think
Oh,
it's
at a push, you like honestly, I was actually funny you say I was thinking about that, and I was like, say you got kids, right? And most
yeah,
of these guys that are spending $250,000 on a boat, bound to have a couple of sproglets.
yeah.
If you're trying to get away for the weekend with your family, and you've had a hall pass to go to the boat show, there's no way in Hades you're also going to be allowed Sunday off to go to the Tristram show and the Rayglass show. Not a chance.
I'm inclined to agree with you because they run them at the same time. Now, clearly, their evidence must suggest that they do okay. And I know that both those companies are filled to the gunnels with orders. So, what do two dickheads like us know? But it's disappointing. It is really disappointing.
Well, especially for someone like you. You know, you go on there, you want to see them all. And I heard that it wasn't the Auckland Boat Show. It was the Alloy Boat Show.
It's the Alloy Boat Show, that's for sure. And that's what I want to move on to now, because as much as I was disappointed that those fiberglass boats weren't there, the alloy boats at the moment, New Zealand is so far ahead of the game. Far ahead of the game. And it's not just the big players anymore. It really isn't.
Did you see de Havilland there?
I didn't see de Havilland there.
Okay. What about Fryan?
I did not see Fryan there. In fact, you make a good point with Fryan. And this is what I've been thinking. Alloy boats for a long time were the poorer cousin, I think, of the boating world. And I know people are going to be throwing their toys, but they were. They were never as well finished. You know.
Well, when you had a Sea Nymph V14.6 to compare, or a Bayliner, Capri, whatever yours is.
Let's maybe just park the fact that we own two awful fiberglass boats. But even within the alloy boat market, I think the gap's closed now. It used to be like Extreme and White Pointer and
what's a Dicky?
I don't know. Well, Dicky weren't even there, so they don't.
But Dicky's an alloy boat.
I know, but what I'm saying, like, it used to be just these couple of big brands, and then there was a drop down to the Fryans and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I mean, Fryan doesn't exist anymore as far as I know, but some of these small brands, the one blew me away. Purecraft?
Innovision?
I mean, we've spoken about Innovision before on the podcast.
But it's still cool.
In the flesh, I'm gonna give you some credit.
Thank you.
They're cool. They're genuinely cool. And some of the the innovation, like for example,
you wanted to say Innovisions, eh?
Innovation.
I know you wanted
innovation.
To say
the innovation.
Innovation.
The best thing is, like, look at these min coaters. Every boat now in the last 5 years has a min coater on it now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's something Big Angry Fish used early on, and you've seen more and more guys use them. And with an alloy boat, it's a case of basically cut and paste, put it on, it works.
Yep.
You look and it looks okay. All got them included. The fiberglass boats, some of the butcher jobs I've had to do to get them on, not good. Yeah. And just the clever seating in them now, the clever layouts, they are all good. There isn't a dud now. Staby Craft, some of the stuff they're doing, like, so well finished.
And like, what was your top boat? Actually, no. Run through. Let's get a bit serious here. Get a bit nerdy and all. So we've got, of your boats, the one that you would have for taking the boys out fishing, just for a sneaky afternoon fish.
A boating company that really wowed me this time was Circa's.
What?
I've always thought Circa's were a little bit rough around the edges. I've always just thought, they're a good, cheap boat. Not anymore.
Cheap, but okay.
Well, comparatively, they always felt cheap, felt light. I think some of their smaller stuff is really cool.
So you're talking about, like, are you taking me out in the 5 meter, whatever it's?
The Workmate. I know, quarter basic, but I was really impressed with them up close.
Oh, basic, bitch.
The little what's it called? Center console from Staby as well.
Oh yes, yeah, that's quite cool.
They're looking really sharp too.
Frontier or something.
Yep, the Frontier, I think it's called. You're right. That was cool for a little. I think you probably do want a pontoon boat if there's a couple of you soft baiting or something.
Yeah. And so then, if you're going to go take the missus out for a weekend,
the Huntsman Centurion.
Oh,
Okay, now that isn't an alloy boat, but that's where, and I was going to bring that in later, but since you've asked me the question,
I'm
there is
sorry,
one.
I got so excited here
There is
because
one fiberglass boat company that is doing the business, and it is Huntsman right now.
now when I was doing up my boat and studying engineering down in Canterbury, this is 2014, 15, I think. I saw that boat being developed. It had the plug, the mold, whatever you call it, the polystyrene mock-ups, and they were checking the sizing and all that. And those guys are so cool to deal with, so nice. They helped me, problem solve all the issues I was working on when I was replacing the floor and the stringers and stuff like that. Have heaps of time for that company.
Yeah, and I have to clear my bias there too, that Mum and Dad do own a Huntsman, but even just subjectively looking at this new model, so the Centurion is the same hull, in that they've run a couple of different decks on it. So there's the hard top, and then there's a Elite Angler, which has got sort of 2 pedestal seats, quite a bit of room, and then there's the I can't remember the name of it, but it's the sort of more comfy layout, similar to what we've got. But they had one at the boat show that was like massively specced, all beautiful colors. If you get on the Huntsman Facebook page or their Instagram, even, I'm sure you can see a picture. Oh, in fact, I'll even put a link to it on our
awesome,
Unable 7 Instagram.
And I
what a
think
weapon!
They might even make that mold or that hull into a bow rider if we're not too
in the not too distant
unlucky
future.
in the future.
Yeah, and we've spoken a lot about Huntsman before, but that's what I'd have as a take the missus out boat, the cheese and crackers boat, as they call it.
The cheese and crackers.
Yeah, I mean, Buccaneer had a pretty cool new model. Haynes Hunter had the 6-meter SF hardtop.
Oh yeah, cool. They always look pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's a new model. So the SF660, I think it is. I'm just looking at my notes here to try find the actual length.
You took notes from the boat show.
Bear with me. I am a nerd.
Yes. Journalist over here.
Well, I was interested
One News, Jacob Rees-Kurt.
Because
you are actually looking up through a book.
It's quite small for a hardtop.
Is it 6 meters?
The smallest hardtop. It's 6 point. I have to look it up now.
In all fairness, though, Extreme have like a 5. What was it called? The 5.
Yeah, but this is like a proper hardtop. You're talking about that little bitty cabin thing. This is a proper. So they've done some clever things with that. But apart from that, no other fiberglass boat was doing much. Really, genuinely. You look inside a Buccaneer, and I love Buccaneer. I always have. They've always had a soft spot for them. But you could have been looking at the boat show from 10 years ago almost. There's just nothing different in them. Yeah, there's just nothing different in them anymore. They need to actually make a new model or give it a bit of a revamp.
Yeah, you get a bit. That's the thing, with the alloy that you see, they can cut and shape and weld and do some cool things really easily. Really easily.
They really can.
It's a bit harder with a mold, eh? Oh, mate. So you had a good weekend. Then you went to the Tristram factory, did you, as well?
No, I didn't go to any of the factories in the end. Again, for that reason. I was like, no, I'm not going to make the effort. They haven't made the effort to come to the show. I'm not a genuine buyer, so it was no great loss to them.
You're not a genuine buyer. No, you're very happy. You're comfortable with the Bayliner Capri and the
I am now.
And the Johnny.
This is the problem with us not with a podcast for a while, is that Tristram have actually released a model since you and I have last spoke, the 821 Offshore.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
And you actually you sent me down the boat. What is it called? Boating New Zealand magazine on it. It's a beast. It is a big boat.
It pains me to say it.
You like it, eh?
Probably my favourite fiberglass boat at the moment.
Yans.
I don't know whether it'd have the stern drive or the twin outboard. If you haven't seen it,
I got a problem for you right now. It's like, what's the max you can tow on the road? Like 4 ton or something?
It can be towed.
Oh yeah, like if you take the back seats out and you have it empty.
Yeah, it's marginal, but
and maybe if you take off one of the outboards.
Yeah,
like it's not towable, bro. It is not towable.
It's
beautiful. It's for someone that's parked up at I don't know, Whangamata or somewhere like that, or maybe even Whirianga, the waterways, where the boat's always there. It's basically on one of those fancy little docks where it drops into the water and then out they go. It is not a boat to go and launch at a pedo bay.
No, I agree with you. I agree that the comparative alloy would be lighter.
Way
And
like give me an 8-meter Surtees over that thing any day of the week.
yeah. Oh, I'm surprised you don't like it. I thought I would have had you on this. You know I don't want to like it. I really don't.
I know you don't want to like it. I don't know you don't want. Hey, don't get me
but
wrong.
I am
Look,
unbiased enough to.
all I thought was I can't tow that with my rodeo. Nah, can't have it. Which actually does limit me to a lot of boats that I can't actually.
Anything more than a Viking kayak you ruled out with.
Hey! What do you drive now, Mister?
Yes,
Mister, don't like my rodeos.
For those that don't know, Christian and I drive the exact same ute.
And it pains you, doesn't it?
After years of giving him grief for it.
Oh, this is brilliant. This is brilliant.
So I would have been keen to go see that at the factory, but that was.
You mean the rodeo factory for the latest model?
No. But here, and this, it sort of flows on nicely from the Tristram 821, is a boat that I found at the boat show, and it's not a new boat company per se, but they've
got my phone here.
Released a new
model. To research. What is it?
Okay, type in. It is.
Oh, you have your notebook there.
I do have my notebook here. It's a boat by Circa. Now, Circa is a boat company in Whangarei. They made alloy boats for a long time now, but they've partnered up with a company called Offshore Boats New Zealand. Now, I don't know the full story behind. Basically, Circa builds the boat. Offshore Boats do the everything inside. That's my understanding. Now, you want to look at this Circa 950.
Because they also do that offshore patrol vessel or whatever, an epic looking thing, the 24-meter offshore yacht.
Yes.
Or they build,
They do. They build them. So they're a boat building company. Well, now
you contract them to build a boat, right?
Yeah. Now the Circa 950 hard top. What's the actual model? Yeah, Circa 950 actually. Oh my God. I'm going to put a picture on the Unable Seaman Instagram. I know I always plug this Instagram, but for God's sake, if you don't look at anything else we put up, please take a minute out of your day to go and look at the Circa.
Ooh,
Google
Circa 950 SL. Ooh.
SL. Oh, honestly, I would have it over the equivalent Dickie trailer boat. Not the Dickie we spoke of earlier, because that's the 45. That's the big one. That's still the dream. But the Dickie
got twin 300s on the back.
Exactly. The Dickie 850, I think we picked as our favorite boat a few episodes ago.
Bull. Yeah.
You can turn that into Coke cans as far as I can.
Oh, wow.
As far as I'm concerned. This thing is the duck's nuts.
It's got some classic lines.
Beautiful lines, nice pointy lines.
I reckon they took those lines off Redicat.
Yeah, I don't think they did. Beautiful bifold doors, electric window, nice indoor-outdoor flow, twin 300s on the back. There's nothing you could not do on that. They do a 750 as well. But this thing was at the boat show. And I
kind of like the twin motors because you can do that spot hold thing without having the thing.
Look at the dashboard, 24-inch Simrad unit.
Oh, that's almost porno, isn't it?
24-inch. You could have, people have got, I've been to bars with smaller TVs than that.
Twin 300s, eh? Like, okay, here you go. Would you have the twin 300s or would you go for 1425 or whatever and have a little egg beater on the front?
You're talking about a Minn Kota on the front. Yeah, not a bad shout. I wouldn't have the stern drive. I'll admit they do a stern drive model, and I'm slightly less into that. I would go the twin.
I would have the twin Mercs because the Mercs make the V8s right from 200 all the way up.
Yeah.
Imagine the hum of two V8 outboards sitting behind. Even just twin 200s would probably be okay.
And this links back to what we were talking about with the Tristram. So this is effectively the same length. Towing weight dry, 3.5 ton.
Yeah, boom. You 500 kilos lighter straight away.
Yeah. So really, really impressive boat.
51 knots, twin 300s, 51 knots. Bro, you can take that back to twin 200s. You do not need to go 51 knots in an 8-meter, 9.5-meter alloy boat.
I'm going to have to get back.
It's capable of taking a pair of 425s. This boat is ridiculous.
I know. 600-litre fuel tank. Well, that'll last about 5 minutes if you put those 425 V8s on it.
Oh, and look at the
Just-
back.
I
The
know.
back setup with the cage.
I know.
Oh,
I
please
know.
okay, I'm going to send you. I'm looking at the Pacific Powerboat magazine.
No, take a breath. Take a breath. We were going to talk about these anyway, and this is a beautiful segue.
Oh, what?
It can take the Mercury 600 horsepower outboard. I've just looked at the spec sheet. You know the new 600 V12?
Yeah. The one where it doesn't actually steer, just the gearbox steers.
Yeah, for those that haven't seen
Ain't
that
that kind
yet,
of cool?
take a minute to Google it. It's the Mercury V12 600 horsepower outboard. And as Christian's just said, the actual body doesn't turn. The lower leg turns. Have a look on
Engine
YouTube.
rate.
Brilliant,
Yep.
brilliant
engine
engine.
range up to 850 horsepower. I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay. So one of those would you have one of those?
I would
Would you?
hate to think the price. I imagine
100 grand plus.
I
100
would
grand plus.
I would say that would be very light.
You reckon?
Those 7 marine things, those 625 horsepower 7 marine things, I want to say they were 250 grand each. I don't know why I've got that figure in my head, but I think they are. But that's a brilliant boat. That's a brilliant boat. I know I know for people listening, you really need to have a look.
It does actually look quite nice.
So that was my boat of the show. Going back to talking about alloy boats though, just quickly.
Yep.
And probably
there are quite
something.
a few good ones.
There are quite a few good ones, and this is the sort of point I'm gonna make is that New Zealand is going to be the world's going to be in trouble with supply chains. I've already heard, I could hear manufacturers, they're talking about like outboards and everything. I overheard, because I was being a nosy bugger, a person on the Extreme stand, ask me about Extreme boats in a minute, by the way, on the Extreme stand, who was buying an 850 Extreme, or it might have been a 7, I can't remember the model, but basically the salesman was saying, look, it's 250 grand and you're not going to have your boat until this time next year.
Oh.
So that's a whole summer without your boat.
Yeah.
And then I was at a boat show, so it was quite noisy. But the guys basically said, and the price is the price. So there's no negotiation on price. There's such a demand for boats at the moment, secondhand, new, outboards, all the bits that go with it, that people are paying full price and still waiting a year. Now, here's the point. This is the point I want to know, is because they're all so good now, why wouldn't that guy go from Extreme, go to Innovision, go to any one of these other, Purecraft, I think was another one. I don't know if we've spoken about that already or not.
We did it. Actually, when I was on the side of the road, you mentioned Purecraft. And you're like, I actually rate those guys.
Purecraft are another cool boat as well. This podcast is going to go all night if we talk about these, by the way. But
I know. Well, okay.
Please have a look at
we
that.
better rein this podcast in.
But have a look at those. But why not go to those other brands now? Because there's nothing in it anymore. And as the point, just to sort of do full circle, we sort of spoke earlier about Extreme and that leading the way, and Staby and that
years
and
ago.
The next stage down, the Fryans and that. There's no gap anymore. There really isn't a gap anymore. All of these alloy boats are so cool. It's so good.
I totally agree, man. And you read them all in the reviews, and they're all 4-star plus out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that guy's name? From Boating New Zealand. That's got the funky last name.
John Eccleston.
Eccleston, that's the one. He's the yeah.
He's a good boat reviewer. I'd love for him to listen to our podcast one day. Maybe we should send him one.
Maybe.
See what he thinks.
Hey,
yeah.
I just saw too. The V12 Mercury outboard, the 600 horsepower, is going to be in the order of $77,000 each.
Okay, US dollars. What's that? Time? I don't even know what the things are anymore. Times
USD to NZD. Here we go. 1.38. Oh gosh. Oh no, I just put my stopwatch. 77 times 1.38. Yeah, 110 grand.
That's not as dear as I thought, I must admit.
Yeah, but when you can get like a second-hand 300 for like 40.
Yeah.
And you get 2 of them.
Lot, but you're not going to put a second-hand engine on the back of that brand new Circa.
Well, if it's got 100 or 200 hours, I would.
Yeah.
Especially if the wait time's 12 months.
Well, exactly. Yeah, although they're going to be worth bloody all sorts.
Does that mean that the second-hand boat market's gone up and our boats are worth more now?
This is something that keeps me awake at night. I
don't know
think,
why he keeps you awake at night, bro.
well, because I just think about these things. I'm a very simple human being. I think probably for our boats, maybe. Keeping in mind our boats are pretty average. I think if you've got a halfway decent boat, definitely. And the proof will be in the pudding, and I'll certainly report back on this podcast. My parents are intending to sell their boat.
Oh yeah, they've got the
2007 Huntsman
6000.
Yeah.
We've had lots of fun on that one. That's a great boat.
We've had a heap of fun in it. Now they're thinking of selling to buy a newer model Huntsman. And
what are they going to get?
Well, I don't know. I'll report back, but what I hear and what I gather is that they'll make money, or that will make money is too strong a word. They won't hurt on it. They will probably get what they paid for it, however many years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah, because they purchased it in the last GFC.
Yeah, and they did. And to be fair, he's just put a new trailer under it. Like, he got the nice stainless steel rocket launcher and stuff. So there's a bit of added value, I suppose. But I think he'll do okay. Now the proof will be next time we do a podcast, or however long it takes to sell. But that will be the answer is what is the used boating market like. But I mean, go back to what I said a minute ago. That guy's having to wait over a year for his brand new Extreme. Why would you not go buy a second-hand one? And there's plenty of them on Trade Me asking big dollars.
And a lot of those boats, they're barely used. Mate, I can see on my list of things that we were to talk about and we have talked about, we need another podcast.
We do need another podcast. So as promised, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to try to get back to regular service and do one of these a month. And if we bang out 5, then we are going to get some proper podcast gear, because I know the worst thing about this podcast is the audio quality. When I listen back to it, I'm always disappointed. The problem we have is that Christian is in Wellington and I am in Te Awamutu, which of course means we're relying on bits and bobs.
Well, no one knows where Te Awamutu is. That's the
first problem. That's the problem. I don't think the internet knows where Te Awamutu is. So what we'll do is we will get some podcasting gear, and we will make an effort to be together to actually film them. I think it'd be so much better to be in the same room anyway.
Imagine that.
Yeah. And
so what? As a segue out of our episode, am I going to come up to you for this podcast, or are you going to come down to the capital?
I think we do a bit of both. I think we
there has been some chit chat, eh?
Yeah, I think we could go on for another hour. I like I say, I do want to make a few episodes before I go and invest in the gear, because some of it is expensive. And my plea to the listeners there is, if you are listening, please give us some feedback and let us know you're listening. I don't care if it's a message on Instagram, if it's face-to-face, if you know us, but please make the effort to let us know, because the only way we know doing this is worth it is when we get feedback. And I'm sure you... Sorry, go.
I was going to say, and the other feedback I want is, I don't know if anyone on this podcast knows, but I've been given a pretty hefty responsibility, and I'm looking for feedback on stag do ideas that involve the water.
Yes. So to fill you in, I'm getting married. Christian is my best man, and he is planning my stag do. So if you have an idea to stitch me up, or some sort of idea to help him out, get in contact. You can actually email us at unableseaman.gmail.com, I think it is.
Something like that.
At Unable Seaman on Instagram, you name it. YouTube, we've got a YouTube channel at Unable Seaman, where we're uploading heaps of videos about using the slow jigs as well. Anyway, bro, I think that's enough plugging our own.
That's good.
Plugging our own bung, so to speak.
Wrap her up and save some goss for next time.
Save some for next time. It's been bloody good to be back on here.
Oh yeah.
And I hope I hope the listeners have enjoyed it. We've covered a lot of ground, and we've zigged and we've zagged, and it's the thing with this. We never really have any plans, but we just get there in the end.
Wicked. Well, until next time, man.
Until next time, bro. We'll see you, and thanks again, everyone, for listening. See you later.